cybersecurity expert Charles Tendell.
Systemic failures that brought their whole systems down.
Charles Tendell, he's a certified ethical hacker.
Your emails, it turns out, are not nearly as private as you think.
Show really how vulnerable we are.
Charles Tendell, who deals with hackers all the time, says,
if you have to ask yourself, is this right? It probably isn't.
Welcome.
What's going on, guys? Welcome once again here into the Charles Tendell Show. You know who I am, and you know what I'm about. If not, you know where you're going. Over to the CharlesTendellShow.com, and while you're there, do the thing. Like, subscribe, share, and do all that other fantastic stuff that you do online over at the CharlesTendellShow.com. And remember, while you're there, if you click that Get the Past Show, Get the Latest Show, I'm not really sure which button it is this morning. In fact, I'm going to go to the website myself, and I'm going to look it up over on the CharlesTendellShow.com. But if you're there and you click the Past Shows button, you can get all the last episodes, all the last editions here of the Charles Tendell Show. And remember, if you click that button right next to it, the subscribe button, if you click that one, then you don't have to worry about going out and finding it and looking for it on all your favorite stuff, because it'll come right to your pocket. That's right, it'll be right there on your smartphone, in your face, doing the thing that you want it to do, and you'll be able to catch this show at any time. And if you're listening to my voice, it is 8 a.m. in the city of Bears. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, that means you are locked in on 103.9 FM, and you are keeping this live on your morning drive, 8 to 9 a.m., and on again on your evening drive on 5 to 6 p.m., also 103.9 FM. We're coming to you this morning straight out of the new New Bern Live studio. This is day 2 in our new space, and when I say our new space, let me introduce you to the man behind the board back there, Mr. T. Hooks. How are you doing this morning, man?
What's going on, Charles?
What's going on? What's going on? So, Trevor, you're back there on the board helping me. We've got a lot of new advancements, a lot of new things happening out here on the Charles Tendell Show, and it has been really, really cool, man. It has been, yesterday was pretty cool, wasn't it? Yesterday was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a big time.
I think we had, how many people did we have come in here into the studio yesterday? Like
about
5 or 6?
Yeah,
about a handful of people. Yeah, all walked in to see the new space. And if you guys are down here in the city of New Bern and you want to get involved in the conversations, anything that happens on this here show in the mornings, you can come down to the downtown New Bern, Omark's building, Suite 107, right outside, well, once we get all the stuff cleared out from in front of it. But you can come hang out, look, and see how each and every one of these shows are actually put together. And if you want, you can actually join in on the conversation. So come on down here. Now, if you're not interested in the tech shows, because today is indeed a tech show. In fact, I think Trevor and I are going to spend some time talking about things like cryptocurrency this morning, because I hear there's some new stuff going on with that. But if you are interested in all the stuff that's going on, you know how it works. You know, it's Monday morning. Chris is going to be back with Asked and Answered on Monday morning, so he'll be back on your morning drives on Monday talking about all those interesting questions that people want to have answered out there, from how your taxpayer money is being spent, how your politicians are behaving, all those fun stuff you can get out there on Asked and Answered on Mondays. And Tuesdays, it is Tendell Tuesdays, so it is all tech, or pretty much whatever Charles wants to talk about, right? So you can sit here and listen to me. Today we're going to be talking about blockchain, and I want to introduce you guys to someone. I want to introduce you to what hacker actually looks like, because that's been a real kind of hard conversation that I have with a lot of people, because people don't know how it works. They don't know what hackers do. They don't know how hackers behave. They have this weird idea. Speaking of which, I do have my official hacker hoodie on the chair behind me. I didn't get a chance to put it on before we went live with the video, but maybe during a break somewhere I'll put on the official hacker hoodie. Shouts out to iSecure LLC out there. It is a minority-owned cybersecurity company in the DC area. If you don't know who they are, go check them out, iSecure LLC or i-secure.com. Find them on social media. You can find them. You know they're out there. That's how it all works out there. But Tendell Tuesdays, 8 to 9, it is the Charles Tendell Show, doing whatever we feel like doing. And then Wednesday, you're on your hump day. It is Wendy Card and the New Bern Now Pod Squad with their episodes coming out with all the things in and around New Bern and beyond, talking about all things travel, recreation, something to do, having a good old time. If you want to listen to that one, tune in tomorrow morning, 8 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 6 p.m. for Wendy Card and the New Bern Now podcast out there, and the Pod Squad doing their thing. And if you are locked in on 103.9 FM and you want to see how this all works, because they might actually be in the studio one day this week coming in to do their show, you can find the Men on Radio offering nonsensical solutions, or the Morons. The Morons. Trev, have you heard the Moron Show yet?
It's a lot of hype, man.
There's a lot of hype with the Moron. There's a lot of hype on the Moron Show, because the Morons are men on radio with nonsensical solutions. They're a little crazy. They do a whole bunch of they do whatever they want to do. Like if they've got if they've got any sort of like weird, like anything weird you can think of that might actually turn into a conversation piece, and even if it's not a real conversation, they just make it up as they go along. And so it's Men on Radio offering nonsensical solutions. It is highly entertaining, and I definitely recommend you tune into that one and become a mofo. Shouts out to Miss Sabrina Bangles, who was on the show yesterday. Right, who was on the show yesterday, and she is a mofo. She is a moron follower. So if you want to get in on the morons, definitely tune in Thursday mornings, 8 to 9 a.m., and then 5 to 6 p.m. on 103.9 FM, or broadcast all over the place online. You can watch it and do all that other stuff on New Bern Live. And if you are interested, Fridays is another fun one. It is City Talk with Lee Bettis, who is missing, right? He is genuinely missing in action. We're not really sure where Lee has run off to, but he is missing. He's somewhere in Italy. I think he's somewhere in Italy. Is that where he is? I think that's where we said yesterday, right? He was somewhere in Italy? I think that's how that one worked. But he's somewhere in Italy, somewhere overseas, trying to get a vacation in, but he decided he was going to do this without any reservations. So he's pretty much out there winging it, but he has been blessed and he is having a good old time. But you can catch him and Miss Sabrina Bangle on City Talk, which is all things here local with the happenings and the going-ons downtown at City Hall in the city of New Bern. So if those are things that are interesting to you, if those are things that you want to get in on or you want to find out more about, definitely hold it locked in on 103.9 FM, or join the group. New Bern Live is a thing. You can check out the Facebook page where we post up all of this fantastic content, where you can watch these shows get produced. You can watch the content come out as it's being built, or you can join the conversation and contribute to the creation of this wonderful content by joining the New Bern Live Facebook group. Because if you're involved in the group, you can help create the news that comes out, the things that you want to see. So get local, get loud, and be heard. Be here on New Bern Live. So that's it. Monday mornings, Asked and Answered. Tyndale Tuesdays with me on Tuesdays. Wednesday is the New Bern Now podcast, and Thursdays is Morons, and Fridays is City Talk with Lee Bettis and Sabrina Bengal. Did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. Did I miss anything?
Any more tech?
Well, we haven't even started on the tech yet. That was all just intro promo stuff. I don't think we have tech. We haven't started on the tech stuff yet. So we can get to that one. So today's show, with it being Tyndale Tuesday, right? Would it being all about me and not me, technology and the things that are happening in this great world? You guys all know that I am indeed a certified ethical hacker. That's what I do on my day job. I actually help people understand the technology and what hacker actually looks like, right? And it is a big kind of deal for me, right? It is one of those things where for the last 20 years of my career, I've listened to, heard from, talked to, otherwise engaged with so many different people from so many different walks of life that all have different perspectives of what they think a hacker actually does. In fact, actually, Trevor, what do you think a hacker actually looks like? What do you think a hacker does?
You got your white hat, you got your black hat.
Right on.
You got your good guys, you got your bad guys, just like anywhere.
See, I think you're kind of biased though. I think you were educated ahead of time, so I don't think you're a fair comparison.
Maybe I represent the majority.
The majority? Now that would be refreshing if people actually knew really that hackers were good guys, bad guys. They were that we have just like what's the conversation? Just like we have good cops and we have bad cops, right? We have good cops out there who are doing their job every single day, trying to make sure the world is a better place, and then we have the occasional bad cop, right? It's the same in the hacker community. In the hacker community, we've got like you said, right, white hat hackers, and we've got black hat hackers, and then we've got the guys that are kind of the gray. They're in they straddle both lines. They sit there on both sides and have their, they can go either or, right? I was having a conversation the other day with someone out on LinkedIn, right, and they were telling me about how it's so hard now to find a job as a pen tester, as a hacker, as somebody who's going to be out in the industry, that they're really, really tempted to go black hat. They're really tempted to go bad guy. They're really tempted to go into the world, into a world where they may break the law to do it because they can't find a regular job. They can't find a normal job. Now, in the world of cybersecurity, in the world of hacking, in the world of anything, you have to understand that the people that we run into, that we meet, that make up this industry, they're really, really different kind of people, right? Their styles are different, their attitudes are different, their personalities are different. They don't necessarily fit into the status quo mold of your corporate boardroom or your whatever, right? You have to be flexible in the way that you do that. And that's something that's been a bit of an issue, right? It's been, most people don't pay attention to the diversity of an individual. They expect them to be a certain way, and if you're not, you kind of get rejected, right? You kind of get rejected. You kind of get put into a position where you didn't meet my expectations, so because you didn't meet my expectation, you've got to be wrong. You've got to be dealt with. You've got to be set aside, or you can't possibly be the normal. But then demand that person kind of accept you for who you are, no matter what, right? If you come to them, and as long as what you're doing doesn't offend anyone or anything like that, you demand that they respect you as an individual, as a human being, and as a person. But you fail in most cases to actually set it up where, I'm going to turn my light on. I forgot to do that. You actually forget to set it up where you forget that it's a two-way street. Right, it's two ways. It's people are supposed to be, you're supposed to be understanding for each other. And in the hacker world, like I was saying, most people see hacker as kind of a headline. In fact, let me do this. If I go to Google right now and I type in hacker in the definition, or if I go definition of hacker, you get. And this is weird because this is the dictionary. I don't know if it's dictionary.com or if it's a pulling from a Webster's dictionary. I hope it's not pulling from a Wikipedia article or anything crazy like that. But if you go on to Google and you actually punch this in, and this is what's been kind of reverberating through the internet, and you punch in a hacker, the definition of hacker is a person who uses computers to gain unauthorized access to data, or a person or thing that hacks or cuts roughly. Does that sound? That's not a very flattering freaking definition. That's actually pretty irritating. I mean, like even the definition says a person who uses computers to gain unauthorized access to data. So, I'm a hacker, and I do my best most days not to use my powers for evil to gain unauthorized access to someone's computer. But with that definition, the first thing that most people go with, like the mainstream media and every single movie that you hear about, the hacker's always the bad guy. He's the endearing character. Like, what was your first hacker movie, Trev? Did you watch any hacker movies like The Matrix or?
Yeah, The Matrix. That was awesome.
You watched The Matrix?
Neo.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character?
Neo.
Okay. Everybody's favorite character is Neo. Mine.
Who's that one dude? The guy with the suit.
Which guy with the suit? There's a couple of guys with suits. You're talking about
that thing in his ear.
The thing in his ear.
The guy with the.
Oh. No.
Anderson, Mr. Anderson.
Oh, you're talking about Agent Smith. You're talking about
Smith,
Agent
yeah.
Smith.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, he was the AI. He was the AI charged with catching Neo and his boys. That's what it was. He was actually a program manifest into the Matrix, right? So he was a piece of software that popped up in the Matrix, and that's how that worked.
I wonder if they use blockchain technology in that.
I don't know. Actually, you look back on it, it would make sense. Speaking of blockchain technology, since you brought that one up, speaking of blockchain technology, you were telling me this morning as we were getting ready for this show this morning that somebody, a big name, has actually jumped on blockchain technology and is what are they doing with it? Who's it?
It's Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah.
So what's going on with blockchain this morning? Speaking of blockchain and weird hacker stuff.
That's a very big question, very broad question.
So,
but all around the world, you have businesses, corporations tokenizing their industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're making the process of receiving medical information and dispersing medical information a lot quicker. For instance, food. You could order food. You know, right now it takes about 6 days or something, and it reduces the time in like 2 seconds, pretty much. You could receive all the information that you need through the blockchain, which is a public ledger of everything that's been done, which there's some other coins that are changing the game so it's even more private. So people can't even view the blockchain and see what kind of transactions are located back to you. But more on that. right here, we have Walmart, in collaboration with IBM, began to test the technology back in 2016, actually.
Walmart.
Yeah. So we've been the company reportedly is able to verify any information about products, and thanks to technology decentralized nature, is protected from hacking attacks and data altercations.
Now, wait a minute. Wait. So the way I see those, right? The way I see those is, again, we've got a group of hackers, right? We've got a group of people who have figured out a way to use this technology, because blockchain is just, it's a ledger, right? That's how you validate information, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, okay? So we've got this ledger that was invented by a group of hackers, right? That's Nakamoshi Satoru, right?
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi.
Satoshi Nakamoto, right? So we've got this technology created by a hacker, right? That companies are now embracing to be able to use to better refine their processes with things.
You could say so. Well, for one thing, it takes out the third party.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to deal with nothing against the bank. Banks really need to hop on to investor relations and become the investor rather than the bank. It really helps with customer relations, because your customer comes straight to you. Less charges in between going from one distributor to another. You can buy overseas purchases without having the financing charges that deal with other countries and all that. And there's just a lot of good to using this blockchain technology.
I agree. No, we've got some activity in the comments section. This is funny because I remember I tell you I try not to actually use to look at my social media while I'm on the air, right? Well, Chris says, yep. So good morning to Chris. Eric Queen is in there. He says, Tendell Tuesdays. Yay. No, I do not work for WikiLeaks. Actually, I take that back. No comment. I don't work for and you can still get involved. So if you guys are involved in this and you want to have more of a conversation, go to the comment section. You can find it on Facebook, either in the New Bern Live Facebook page, on the Charles Tendell Show Facebook page. And if you're part of the New Bern Live group, you can get involved in that one as well. Or if you're really crazy and you want to walk through the door or you want to get involved in this one, go ahead and come on down to the New Bern Live studio right in the heart of downtown New Bern, Suite 107 in the Omarks building, and get involved in this conversation, because we're having a lot of fun. We're always going to have a lot of fun, especially on Tendell Tuesdays, Wendy and the New Bern Now Wednesdays, and then definitely Thursdays for Moron. So if you want to come in and you want to have a blast, just get involved here on 103.9 FM or New Bern Live. Now, there's a lot of new updating stuff, right? We're going to be growing. We're going to be expanding. As you can see, we're in the new studio space. We're having some fun with that one. And that is something, it is something I've wanted to do for the longest period of time. And for everybody out there, thank you so much for your help and for getting involved and for bringing this all together with me, right? It has been a true blessing. It has been a true joy to see this. I mean, Trev, I think you were there the day, like, I think I said it to you. We were sitting in my home studio, right? We were sitting in my home studio, and I was like, hey, we're going to build something. I'm not 100% sure what that's going to be, but we're going to build a new studio. And you were like, I want to be a part of that. Please let me be a part of that. And it was, dude, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you, man. You know that.
I appreciate it, man. Now we're basking in the vision.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Sitting in the vision and loving it, blessed and highly favored in this one. So back to it. We're talking about the definition of a hacker. So the Webster dictionary definition is a person who uses computers to gain unauthorized access to data. Now, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge everybody in the sound of my voice, everybody who listens to this show on 103.9 FM or over on the CharlesTendellShow.com or iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Did I say iHeartRadio already? I don't think I said iHeartRadio already. All of those places. I mean, trust me, if you want to find this show, it's out there. You can definitely get involved in that conversation if you really, really, really want to. If you want to get involved in that, if you want to have that conversation, you can find it. CharlesTendellShow.com will be your gateway to get anywhere. Or New Bern Live on Facebook or the Charles Tendell Show. It's everywhere. You can find it. But I challenge you, anyone who's out there and can hear the sound of my voice who listens to this later, change the narrative a little bit, right? Because there's an entire army of people out there that look like me, they sound like me, they talk like me, they behave like me, they think of the world as basically a giant puzzle, as a giant Rubik's Cube meant to be solved. And we see technology, we see different things, and we want to see how we can make it better. right? We want to see how we can advance it. I mean, your phone, right? If you're watching this show right now, if you're on your mobile device watching this show right now, let's see, James Blanchard, what's going on in the chat, in the comment section down below. If you're using a mobile piece of technology, any of the technology you see around you, matter of fact, let me zoom out. You see all of this? You see this computer and this smartphone and this iPad, the microphones, and everything back there that Trev is working on. All of this technology was created by a hacker. All of it. It was created by someone that had an idea and wanted to see how far they could take it. Someone who had this underlying, unbelievable, absolutely necessary drive to change and to do and to have something good, right? It was saying it was I was trying to remember what it was. I think it was Romans 15, verse 1 and 2. Basically, it's our strengths are for service, and if you see something good in this world that is missing, you have to put it there. That is your job. That is your responsibility. If you see good in this world that is missing, put it there. And I come from a world, a background, a group of people. I grew up hearing that. Well, not necessarily that. It wasn't that. It wasn't until I got older that I actually could attribute it to like a scripture there. And I know people are like, don't use scripture to do that. But if you can understand the word, if you can understand how it's written, how it works, and whether you're religious or not, it's a good way to understand where a lot of our sayings, a lot of our information, a lot of the ways that people around the world communicate. So just read it, assimilate the knowledge like you would any good book, and go and have some fun with it. But the bottom line is I grew up in a group of people. I grew up with an environment where it was all about the assimilation of new knowledge, right? And if people put barriers between us and knowledge, we found ways to get around it, right? We found ways to still get to that information, to still get to that good, because that's the quest, that's the puzzle, right? When I was a kid, and this might date me a little bit. When I was younger, there was, and it's still around, there was the 2600 magazine, and shouts out to the guys out there in the 2600 Facebook group who's out there doing the thing, and I love it. I love the fact that it's out there, or just not only on Facebook, but if you want to see a little bit of the culture, go to your local Barnes & Noble or bookstore or wherever you can find it and get the 2600 magazine. It's the Hacker Quarterly, but go check that one out. But I grew up reading that and Frack magazine and hearing about Cult of the Dead Cow and all these other great organizations, these great people who were just putting together computers. They were just working through technology. And every one of them, now don't get me wrong, I had my first encounter at one point where I asked a stupid question and then got flamed, right? So I don't recommend asking stupid questions. But the one thing that I loved about this, when I grew up with this, like with the 2600 magazine, I would actually ditch school and take a 2-hour bus ride. And I hope my mom's not listening. I don't think it matters now, but I would take a 2-hour bus ride, right, to the only place in my city that actually sold it, which it wasn't easy to do. And then I would sit there and read this magazine, and I would almost always run into somebody else, right? Run into somebody else who was down there looking at either the Linux magazine or another tech magazine or something else there, and we would strike up a conversation. And would spend, like, there was more than one occasion where I had to come up with reasons as to why I didn't ride the bus home, because I caught the bus too late, because I engaged with somebody else that wanted to feed me information or wanted to be fed information. And the way that it all worked out, the way that it all came about, the way that it all engaged, the way that it all happened was in the true sense of what hacker actually looks like. And I go out, if you're following me out on Twitter, it's at Charles Tendell. If you're following me out on Twitter, I post that regularly, right? I post that regularly, what hacker looks like, because we're trying to change this definition, because hacker is not the bad guy, rough around the edges, a little unorthodox in the way that we do things, or the way that we think about things, or the way that we have an attitude about things. But most of the time, we're just there to solve the puzzle. We're just there to make a change, just to put it different. So why do I bring this all up? Well, if you guys remember, earlier this year, I went to RSA, which is the largest cybersecurity conference in the United States for a while, with the exception of summer camp being Black Hat and DEF CON, which if you are going to be there this year, hit me up, ask the question, and get involved. I'm going to definitely be out there having a blast myself, enjoying the fun out there. We're going to be hooking up with ITSP Magazine again and doing some working out there, and going to be doing some really cool interviews. But I'm looking forward to getting together with a group of my friends and actually engaging with that one and actually having a good time and learning some things out at Hacker Summer Camp. But I was out at RSA, and hold on, let me pull this one up. And the out at RSA, I met a group of people who had just gotten an award from Cyber Defense Magazine, and it was for their innovation. It was for their ability to put together basically in an environment where people were welcomed to come in and express themselves, to build, to design, and they were getting confused with a cybersecurity company, right? They got confused with a cybersecurity company when all they were doing was just a place to train and do to have a good time. In fact, actually, I remember, what was it, this weekend? Trevor, you were out last week, weren't you? It was you were up in like Atlanta, just hanging out at a house somewhere, just getting your hack on, having a good old time. I wouldn't call it hacking. I would say you were out there doing the music thing, right?
Over at the Harvey Mansion.
Over at the Harvey Mansion, having a good old time. So the idea of an environment where you can go and just do what you want to do, how you want to do it, amongst people that think like you, that's pretty appetizing, not only to myself, but to everybody, right?
That's really why I got in the blockchain a few years ago. It's a great community.
Really? Tell me about that. What makes community with blockchain better? Like what makes that environment such a healthy place to be in?
The innovation and the just the aspiring individuals, because people getting into the field at the first, now people really are seeing the horses run, but back in the day it was like, well, look at you, man, you're different. It's kind of like people of a similar faith, or birds of a flock together. You see people with innovative ideas like you and the hacker striking up a good conversation. Blockchain started many good conversations.
And see, it's all about technology and bringing like-minded people together to learn and to engage with those types of things.
Yeah,
right?
just like gaming.
See, and that's where, and I want to introduce everybody to Jennifer from Hack House. And if you're interested in this one, you can find them out online. You can find there's a lot of ways, there are a lot of different ways to do it. You can find them. You can go to hacker.house. Right, those cool new domain names. So hacker.house, and you can check this one out. But if you remember, if this interview sounds a little reminiscent for you, I did try and run this one several weeks ago, right before I got sick, right before all those things happened, and I was out for a month. But this interview was one of the last ones that I put up there, and it had been nagging at me because I didn't feel like I had done this interview, justice. I didn't feel like I had put Jennifer and Hacker House on the appropriate pedestal, or actually prepared enough to get this conversation out there. But the whole point of it is, it brings you, and in this interview, I want you to actually pay attention. I want you to see the transition of what people that look like me, right, that think like me, that act like me, that go out and they engage in a community on a way that you can't imagine, or that you wouldn't think, right? Because anytime you hear hacker anywhere else, anytime you hear hacker. Right. Anytime you hear hacker, you think guy in the Guy Fawkes mask, stealing your credit cards, breaking into computers, or just like the stupid dictionary definition of somebody getting unauthorized access to something. But that's not the case, right? That's not the case. Most of us hackers want you to understand that we're out here to help you, right? We're out here to help you. We're out here to make your life easier, not only in the way that you do things and the way that you use technology, but you have to understand that we're the reason, right? We're the reason most of the internet as you know it isn't on fire. We're the reason that most of the internet as you know it exists. We put it all together. So I want to introduce you to Hacker House one more time from RSA, and this is Jennifer, the CEO and founder of Hacker House. Check it out.
So Jennifer, who are you and what brought you to RSA?
Hi, I'm the co-founder of Hacker House. We are a professional services and training team in the UK, and we recently won a Best Security Award from Cyber Defense Magazine, and they asked us to come out here We are their guests to basically come and talk about our training. We run 4-day hands-on hacking training where we basically train up corporate teams to get them ready to do their own security assessments. Look at their, network architecture, firewalls, looking at, all offensive security. So we basically teach them how to come at it from the point of view of the hacker. To be the hacker and to think like the adversary. It's not enough to simulate attacks, not enough to run scans. It's more important about actually learning how your attacker would actually look at your system from the outside, how they would potentially get in, how they would penetrate any potential vector that might be weakened by any number of attacks. So people like our course because it's no bullshit. It's
I like that.
1,000% hands-on. We don't mess around. If you want to learn to hack, and I mean really learn from the best, you come to my team, right?
I like that.
So
I really like
that's
that.
what we do.
Very nice. You got to be a hacker in order to actually catch hackers.
For sure. And we started, so Hacker House started as a set of hackers in a house, right? Literally, my flat in Shoreditch in East London. And really what it was about was come hack the planet with us, learn some shit, right? Let's take apart, the RFID and play and mess around with satellites. Let's look at drones. Let's look at lockpicking. Let's understand signal frequency analysis. Let's analyze those things. I mean, I have learned more working with my co-founder, Hacker Fantastic. Understanding radio, signals and understanding how to hack wireless fob systems. So our key alarm, our garage, any of these things that we take for granted, right? And then we look at the Internet of Things. All of these connected devices communicate on basic telnet protocol, which used to be eradicated in the 90s, but now has come back with all these connected devices. So what's really interesting is that we set apart this kind of grassroots mission of just understanding what the hell was happening with tech and having a blast breaking it apart and looking under the hood. And then actually one day a big corporate, a major high street gambling company in the UK, I got a call and they were like, we need to hire your team. And I was like, what team? We're not a company. We're just a thing. We're like a group of people that get together and hack stuff, And and so they were like, well, no, we need more than what's normally available on the market. So what I was understanding was, what basically opened the big can of worms for me there was a lot of the current cybersecurity companies, the InfoSec, leaders and consultants.
The read report, generate report companies.
Yeah,
right?
love to press, open. Yeah, and it's really hack by number these days. So you don't really need a lot of technical skill if you're going to be trained up as a junior pen tester. And this is why we're having this massive gap in skills, because what we are certifying with all these letters behind our name is not actually equipping the right people for cybersecurity roles. Looking at source code and understanding vulnerabilities, looking at mobile apps, all this kind of stuff. So, and we were tired of this dancing around the word hacker. Hacking is not a bad word.
It is not.
Hacking is really about the pursuit of knowledge and understanding knowledge. And, fuck that. People get really, I always talk my talks when I ask my audiences, I do a lot of professional speaking, and I always say, what do you think of when you think of the word hacker? And, a lot of them think of the guy with the hoodie and the masks and all this. And all that exists, sure, but just like there are bad cops and bad teachers and, chemistry teachers that shouldn't be teaching, so, there's all kinds of different, ethics on any number one of industries.
Right.
Cybersecurity has created this stigma around the word hacker that has put off a lot of people from actually needing their services, which is
from actually engaging what a real hacker actually is. I've spent a good chunk of my career actually trying to explain to people the difference between the hacker mindset and what mainstream media believes the hacker mindset to be. And that uphill battle actually it's working in a couple of different places. One, you got consumers and general people out there that believe all hackers are bad, but then you have corporations out there who are absolutely terrified of bringing that level of diversity, those different ideas, those different backgrounds into an environment because they're terrified they're going to get hacked. How do you show differently?
Well, my co-founder is their worst nightmare, right? So I only need to introduce them to him, and I basically say, look, You either meet your worst nightmare, or he comes and finds you. So why don't we train up your teams and show you how to prepare for this guy? Because avoiding it is not going to happen, right? And as we've seen with any number of like Equifax, I mean, well, Equifax is, don't get me started on them, but Sony, Target.
Really feel.
Oh, I really hate them. I want the world to know that. They are the one, because unlike Target, who was stupid to use some third-party company in Pennsylvania, like
but
they're
wait,
small.
were they stupid, or did they just take advantage of an opportunity where it was going to be their bottom line? They made a mistake.
Yeah, it wasn't. It is what it is. They use a third party. But Equifax, you don't get to choose that. You have to use that company.
Yeah.
And they're terrible. They live the world around FICO, and so then they take all your personal details in your credit card, and they can't even update their servers. What happened there was March 6th.
Adjust this for you.
A patch came out for their out-of-date software.
Hold on. Just move it over here.
Okay. You're going to edit this, right?
I will edit it. Yes.
Okay.
I typically don't, but I will edit it.
Yeah, please do, because I was really distracted at the beginning because I was thinking, what do we really want to say on this? Okay, so back at it.
Okay.
All right, so Equifax, right? March 6th, a patch gets released. No one pays attention.
No one.
Except for the hackers. And then it got loaded up some Chinese website, free buff in China. They started scanning the internet, popped a server in Atlanta, Georgia, happened to be Equifax. They could have easily avoided that entire thing, £4 billion loss. Do you know how much money we could have saved the world with £4 billion?
With a little bit of just better security hygiene, or just doing something that we would actually assume a company that size would actually know how to do. Why do you think they failed?
So I get that a lot, and actually a lot of the work we do is around teaching companies that the way to set the best security hygiene is actually setting the tone from the top. So engaging a board, right? We talk about financial risk, market risk, liquidity risk, and then we get to cybersecurity, right? And then it's like cricket, right? Like tumbleweed. If we call it something like data risk or network risk or informational risk, maybe the board might understand it. But 52%, or roughly thereabout, 54% of most boards will tell you that the cybersecurity reports are too technical. So they just don't. So my first suggestion for companies to clean up their security hygiene would be to start engaging a tone from the top, so leadership and management and the board making active decisions around policies within their company for security. So giving a shit, essentially, paying attention. So that's the first step.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit, actually.
Okay.
Right? So that's a normal song and dance. We've been trying to get these executives at this level, to actually engage with, understand with, and think of cybersecurity as something more than just a cost center, right? Think of something that's got to be built into their environment. Why is this information? Is it a complexity?
Why is it still a clusterfuck
thing? Yes.
All right, I'll tell you why. Because it's still an ask for budget. It's still like, we got to cough up money for a pen test twice a year, a quarterly report. And we actually don't need 3 months of intense 50 grand red teaming to get what we need done. We can actually scale up our own internal teams. Whenever the companies ask me where do we start, I say invest in your people first. You can always buy an automated thing, an intrusion detection system, an encrypted USB, an awesome innovative network architecture. You can do all of that. You can buy those, but it's like buying a jet without the pilot, a fighter jet without your pilot. You need to then train somebody else how to use that. So first start with your people, train your people, then let your people tell you what they need for your tools.
Makes sense. But the people that you're training, right? The people in environments for these companies, you're not saying stick to the IT crowd, right? At least I'm hoping not. You're saying who are these people that we're having trained for this? Are we training more monkeys to push the button?
No. You're skilling up your own internal resources, for your own security team. So why is it one dude? Why is it one IT guy in the lone corner? So again, take your budget that you would be paying external expensive over-the-top consultants that just press buttons and scans, and turn that into open source technology that you download and use. So you can run those. 90% of pen testing can be done internally. So spend the time training your teams. Then look at where your user awareness might be lacking. So training up more than just the technical people. Because I'll tell you, you don't have to be technical to get hacked, right? A lot of the attacks we use are a little thing called
somebody clicked a link.
Social engineering, you know, and so walking through your steps with your people, you know, understanding, like if a guy comes in and doesn't have a badge, that's it, you know, but that happens all too easy, where the guy comes in and I left it upstairs, or you get a FedEx, you know, link. Everybody gets Amazon links, and we all click the button to see when the package arrives, and you know, a payload is running. So these kind of things, paying attention to training beyond that. We're having like hordes of people run out behind us.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's not a bomb or anything going on crazy.
Should we go? I think we should wrap this up.
Oh, they're closing.
All right, wrap it up.
2 questions, and then we'll be done.
Okay? All right.
First question: how did you get into this industry? What brought you to this point? How did you get here?
Oh, that's such a hard question. Okay, so I'll start with, I really got involved with SOPA PIPA. There was a boy named Aaron Schwartz that really sparked my interest, his work and his fundamental ideology around knowledge transfer, right? And so that really got my interest. Then he committed suicide, unfortunately, after the horrible thing that happened. Go watch The Internet's Own Boy. It's a very sad story, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Well, he happened to work for my cousin Larry Lessig, and I was really involved with this whole corruption, and so I wanted to find a way to contribute to this message of knowledge transfer, importance of beating the drum for freedom of speech and freedom of knowledge, and that was everything Larry Lessig stands for, and so I got in to cybersecurity by running my events in Shoreditch, and then I ran them publicly with the National Crimes Agency and a whole bunch of politicians to make the case for hackers.
Nice.
And it was a very weird event, but actually we had 800 streaming people, so like it showed me there was a real appetite in what we were doing. And what we did was, we didn't want to become another cybersecurity company. We wanted to create something that would tap into the lifestyle.
Well, there we go with that one. Hold on, let me get these back. I was warning people. I was trying to tell people we were going to be coming back. So if you guys missed it, if you're new and you didn't hear that one, we'll get more with that. And they did. Jennifer did actually give me the new Hacker House hoodie out there, right? So if you see me walking around it, you might actually see a couple of pictures with it. You might have actually seen some engagement with it where it was I'm walking around wearing it. But on the front of this hoodie, right? Whew, and I'm running around during that episode, during that interview. But on the front of this hoodie is that giant fingerprint that you saw, right? That giant fingerprint. That fingerprint is actually written as the Hacker Manifesto. And if you're interested in learning more about what that is, punch that into your favorite search engine, into Google, into wherever it is. Punch that in somewhere, right? And read the Hacker Manifesto. I mean, it doesn't relate to all of us, right? But something in it relates to most of the people I know out there in terms of being a hacker. So welcome back here into the Charles Tendale Show. If you guys want to learn more about Hacker House, you can find them. It's hacker.house. You can find them online, hacker.house. And if you want to learn more about Jennifer or you want to get more involved with that one, go out and check it. And what's Jennifer's? Her Twitter handle is, I'm not even going to try and butcher her name, but it's at Jennifer _ Arcuri, ARCURI. Jennifer _ ARCURI. And you can find them over at hacker.house, and get involved in it. Just do a Google search. You'll find it. They're out there. It's so much fun, so engaging. And everybody that's involved with that conversation loves what they do. They love how they're coming together, how the groups of people are coming together. And I mean, heck, there's so many companies out there that are doing something similar, but Hacker House brings to you that real kind of feel, that real kind of together, that real kind of family that comes with being a professional hacker. So definitely go out there and check them out. You can find out more information from them on thecharlestendaleshow.com, or if you're involved in the New Bern Live Facebook group, I'm going to be posting some information about there. It'll also be out on the New Bern Live Facebook page. So go check them out, hacker.house, and be involved in that conversation. So if you guys are new and you missed the first portion of this, and this morning we've had a couple of great conversations. We talked about a little bit about blockchain, about what blockchain does, but most of this morning is all about educating people on what hacker actually looks like. So during the interview, I went and found my iSecure hoodie. So shouts out there to iSecure. If you're interested in more about them, head out there and look them up. I think it's iSecure. i-secure.net, I think is the right website. I'm not 100% sure. But, I probably should know that because I wear their hoodie all the time, and it is my official hacker hoodie, the one that you see up on every page that we've got out there. You see me out there in front of the American flag talking about it all. But go check them out. It's another good organization filled with hackers. And there's a bunch of different examples of what hacker looks like out there in terms of what we really do. Instead of this weird, crazy, horrible narrative. So during all of that, right, even Jennifer said it, even in the interview, Jennifer said, we are not the people, the definition that people want to believe that hackers actually look like. That's not us. That's not what we do. That's not how it works. That's not how we engage with people. That's not how we talk to people. That's not it. Now, we are unorthodox in the way that we do things, right? Because we are the types of people that just go and do things, right? We just want to put it together. We just want to make it work. We just want to have that happen. We see a puzzle. We want to solve it. We want to answer the questions. We want the knowledge behind it. We're not always the bad guys out there. So help us help you, right? Help us further help you by changing this archaic, nonsensical definition of hacker. And speaking of nonsensical, right? Speaking of nonsensical, one more time, you guys are here on New Bern Live, and if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you're in your car, on your phone, on social media, anywhere else out there on 103.9 FM, you know how this lineup all goes. Yesterday, Monday mornings is usually going to be asked and answered. Chris will be back on Monday. I believe he's coming back in with Jeffrey Odom. I think it's what he's coming back in. There was some conversation around the budget. There's that conversation that's got to happen there. And then, Tyndale Tuesday, which is today with yours truly, where we talk about tech, politics, pretty much anything Charles wakes up that morning and feels like talking about. And then Wednesday, we've got the New Bern Now podcast with Wendy Card and the Pod Squad, all talking about New Bern and beyond. And if you want to get all the fun, exciting, and the out and about, just the cool stuff, like I think Wendy had and actually, Trevor, that reminds me, man, did you get the invite? She did a cover photo shoot for local music artists. You didn't get that invite?
Nope.
Oh, see, you're not following the Facebook page.
Nah, man, I need to get more up to date with social media.
You're not following the Facebook page. So if you're out there and you're in the city of New Bern, Wendy had a photo shoot, a cover shoot for local artists. Check that out. Go see the New Bern Now. Go to newbernnow.com and see the Ledger magazine that's going to be coming out soon. Some great cover issues out there. Thursdays on 103.9 FM, as always, is the Morons or the Men on Radio offering nonsensical solutions. And if you're interested in just chilling your brain and now, mind you, I'm going to say this to you because it's been a while since I've been over there producing for them, and they're probably going to be here at some point in the New Bern Live studio space. But the Morons, if you're interested in just nothingness, listen to those guys. But I'm going to warn you ahead of time. If you're easily offended, don't listen to that show. If you want to be offended and you just want to be those people that want to have a conversation, or you want to be that troll on the internet who's going to come out and do some things, yeah, listen to Morons. You'll find plenty of content to be offended by. And then, lastly, rounding out your week, if you want to get all the ins and outs and happenings over at City Hall, tune in Friday mornings 8 to 9 with City Talk with Lee Bettis and Sabrina Bengal. We're all right here on 103.9 FM or New Bern Live on the New Bern Live Facebook page. Join the group and help create the content, and follow the page if you want to see what that content looks like. So if you want to get local, get loud, and be heard, it all happens right here on New Bern Live. So there were some cool comments happening down there in the comment section. Shouts out to Antoinette, who's hanging out there. Dominic, who's out there. Thank you for answering questions. Sam, thank you for being involved in the conversation out there as well. Trev, I think this one's going to be a good one for you because you're the resident blockchainer, right? The question was, what is blockchain?
Well, hey, I got a good definition pulled up on Investopedia right here.
Investopedia?
Investopedia. What I was explaining is a public ledger, but this definition states, a blockchain is a digitized, decentralized public ledger of all cryptocurrency transactions, constantly growing as completed blocks. The most recent transactions are the completed blocks, are recorded and added to it in chronological order. It allows market participants to keep track of digital currency transactions without central record keeping. Each node a computer connected to the network gets a copy of the blockchain, which is downloaded automatically, which means it's a trustless system. And the fact that there's no record keeping is why it's trustless. You don't need to go sell. You don't have to have a bank. There's no third party. And yeah.
So the ledger system, the ledger basing on blockchain. That's the blockchain is the underlying technology that works for Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
there are different types of blockchains too, but there's in general one large conglomerate of cryptocurrencies.
Nice. So and all this came out of your book, didn't it?
Yes, I do have a book out, Blockchain Estates.
Blockchain Estates.
It's yet to be released.
It's released now. It's out there on the air.
It's out there on the air. It's going to be out.
So Blockchain Estates is all about teaching people how to do what?
Well, it's pretty much stating what cryptocurrency is and how it pretty much solves the issues that fiat currency gives us today, pretty much USD, Euro, and all that, and how we could benefit from the privacy, how we could benefit the security. It goes a little bit into what a fork is and forking and changing a network, and how you could buy real estate with cryptocurrency and not have any financing charges, how you could buy a house overseas in United Kingdom today, have the title in your name today, and not have to pay any international fees.
No, that's if I remember correctly, the whole point behind blockchain and the cryptocurrency was the decentralization and being able to spend basically cash on the internet with the same functionality of using a credit card without having to deal with banks and whatnot. Yeah,
and Silk Road gave it a bad name.
See, talking about things that just screw it up for people, right? Because wasn't that how it all started? People were saying Bitcoin and blockchain, it's all used for nefarious stuff. It's all used for illegal stuff. It's all used for the bad guy stuff because one person took it and screwed it up for everybody, right? One person set the definition of what cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and blockchain is supposed to be, and then it turned into this entire nightmare of you can't do anything. It's all evil, and it put it on the Fed's radar in the wrong way, and now people are still trying to figure out what they want to do with it.
Mm-hmm. It totally changes the game for charity, and for being able to give to the Red Cross, for instance. You usually have like a $1 charge.
Right.
With the fact now you have cryptocurrency, you give a nickel, and you could give a quarter, you could give whatever you want to give under $1 and not have to pay. On top of that, using a wallet.
See, we've got to get this right. We've got to fix this. We've got to get it all set up the way that it needs to be. Because quite honestly, we've got too many people making the wrong definitions. You know, you get the one person becoming the representation of everyone, and we end up with whatever they put forward. So, whenever I engage with just about anybody, right? Whenever I engage with just about anybody, I see them for who they are and who they want to represent or who they want to be in that moment. But then I don't use them to judge the rest of people that might look like, behave like, act like, or sound like them. You know, and that seems to be the real problem with not only hackers, but with most of the technology that comes out these days.
Yep, banks are getting angry, man. But at the same time, I don't think banks should be too scared unless they're going by the same methodologies they always have. If banks could just manage to liken the investor more than just taking the interest out on themselves and get more so in the market of helping people rather than taking the interest. Not saying banks don't help people. I like banks. You know, I have a mortgage, but it would be a lot different if I had 1 million and like 100,000 investors all putting in maybe a penny on a mortgage, and people could take their spaces, and then there'd be not just one entity backing one mortgage, but many different investors that could take a place of another investor. And there's a lot of openings that this blockchain allows. You know.
I mean, first we got to get people comfortable with it. We got to get people used to it. We got to get people
read up on it,
kind of engaged in it. Now that's the other aspect of it. If you're interested in things like blockchain, you've got your website up, right? Do you have your website up for your book? Not yet?
I do have cryptocloseout.com.
Cryptocloseout.com. So go check out Trevor and his cryptocloseout.com and get involved. And if you're in Bitcoin Estates, or you're interested in learning more about blockchain and Bitcoin, talk to Trevor. Trevor's the man on that one. He's going to be your local expert right here in the city of Bears. So if you're interested, either come down here to the New Bern Live studio, because that's where he's going to be sitting until one day he's going to be like, you know what, Charles, I want to sit in the big studio and I want to actually do my own show, and we're going to let him do it. We're gonna let him do it. We're gonna let T Hooks have his way with behind the main mics out here and see how that all is gonna go. I can actually imagine what that's gonna look like. But if you're interested, go check it out. You'll find it all in the New Bern Live Facebook group or on the New Bern Live page. Or if you're going to be interested in the conversation, go over to the CharlesTendellShow.com. And remember, while you're there, do those fun, fantastic things that you do, like subscribe, share, and click that Get the Latest or Past Shows. And you can find out even more about blockchain. You can find more about crypto estates or Bitcoin estates and have more of the conversation out there. So we've got a couple of cleanup items that are happening out here for New Bern Live. And there's some people that send me fantastic things or some stuff that happens out there on the wonderful social media that is Facebook. If you're in New Bern, right? If you're in New Bern and you want something to do or you're looking for a potential part-time job, hopefully your ears just perked up, there's an organization coming out here called Jungle Jump of New Bern, and they are hiring. If you've got a Facebook page, you can go over to their Facebook page or you can find it in the New Bern Live group. But check out Jungle Jump of New Bern, brand new company, brand new husband and wife team or a brand new organization that just came up, just opened, just all about family and letting your kids have something to do. It is summertime, and if your kids want to go out there and they're like mine and they've got more energy than you can shake a stick at, this is where you want to take them. You want to get them out and about. And with the fact that it's been in the 90s this week and it's going to be even hotter as the weeks progress, you got to get them somewhere where there's air conditioner, somewhere where they can have a good time, where they can play and enjoy themselves. So go check out Jungle Jump of New Bern. If you know somebody who's looking for a job, they're also hiring out there as well. Now, before all of this, Trevor, we talked about Walmart was using blockchain. What are they using blockchain for?
Oh, yeah. They're using it for food, for produce, and for medical information, and there's something else.
Now, what do you mean? They're using it to validate that information? So they get the information in, they use blockchain technology to be able to verify that it made it through its resources, that it made it through its proper points on that? Or is there an article?
Verification and speed. Yeah, I had an article here.
You gonna send it to me?
Yeah, I did send you an article. Did you get the text?
Oh, man, let me check. See, this is the problem with technology. We look at so much stuff, and then we don't actually get to play with it. No, that's not Trevor's message. But I'll have to find it. We'll have to definitely talk about that one more because
I got it.
You got it? What is this article? Or are you going to send it to me again?
Walmart is ready to use blockchain for its live food business.
Live food business. What does that mean? So how are they integrating this? Are they?
It says it will reduce waste as well as improve contamination management and transparency. No, go back to the fact that blockchain is, you're more transparent. People say, oh, you can't be tracked, you can't be, that's not true. But at the same time, you have a 64-digit code to guess besides